Please like and comment on the video below. That will allow me to produce better quality videos and more of them in the future. If you're interested in learning to trade successfully on sports, then why not visit the BetAngel Academy, where we have more detailed videos. So it's the Thursday morning of the Masters here. They're going to tee off in about an hour's time. I'm busy working on the market in the background to establish all the positions that I need before the Masters gets underway. But I thought it would be interesting to do a video on some of the stuff that I've been looking at this morning. But not from the perspective of the Masters golf, but from the perspective of what I see within the betting market. And looking at the betting market at the moment, if you look on Betfair, BetDAQ, or most of the exchanges, the book is at 106%. So I've discussed in previous videos, go off and find them if you don't know what I'm talking about, how bookmakers price a book and how the market creates that book percentage at the top of the market. But basically, when you're betting into the exchange market, you're going to lose, if you're backing, about 6% to the layers. Now, if you're laying, the book is actually very tight this morning. It's near on 100% a lot of the time. So you can get absolutely fantastic lay value on the exchange. On the backside, not quite as good value, but there are a lot of players that have no chance of winning and their prices are very big, and some of them are priced at 1,000. So that sort of accounts for a little bit of the discrepancy that you see there. However, book is really, really tight. And one of the reason I say it's really tight, despite the fact it's 106%, is that there are 87 players taking part. So if you look at all of the odds increments and the changes in prices between the back and lay prices, that's generally what's creating that slightly larger overround than you'd perhaps see on a horse race, because horse race is going to be an average of about 10 runners and will be at about 101%. But yeah, you can basically see that the book percentage is slightly higher, but that's because there are so many selections within that particular market. So what point am I trying to make here? Well, have a look at the bookmakers this morning. And if you look at the bookmakers, I've scanned across Odds Checker and looked at all of them. You've got some bookmakers that are pricing the Masters market at near on 200%. It only took me a few seconds to find one that was 175%. They're very, very big prices. So if you're betting with a bookmaker on the US Masters Golf, you're effectively throwing away half of your stake almost immediately if you're betting at 200%. So if you stick down a tenner, you're just giving away £5. There is absolutely no reason whatsoever why you would want to do that. I'm sure they've got some special offers on or something that may tempt you into that, but it just seems a bit bizarre to do that. You can go on an exchange where it's priced at 106%, or you go to a bookmaker where it's priced at 175%. And the difference between those two is money that you're going to lose to the bookmaker. You're going to lose 70% of the potential profit that you've got to the bookmaker. And like I said, at 200%, it's like flipping a coin and only paying out if it comes on heads. It just makes no sense. You are going to lose a lot of money. So yeah, you must use an exchange in those situations. Most golf tournaments are very similar. The book percentage is very tight on the exchange and absolutely, utterly horrific with a bookmaker. Now, there's also another contradictory thing that's taking place as well, in that Betfair have a sports book market and they also have an exchange market. And as I've explained already, the exchange market is at 106%. However, if you place a bet on the sports book with Betfair, they have the prices on there set up at 132%, which is more competitive than most of the other bookmakers that you see on services like Odds Checker and across the market in its entirety. However, it's still massive compared to the exchange. So, why on earth would you go and place a bet on the sportsbook when if you just move your mouse across and click on the exchange, you'll get significantly better pricing? Okay, I know there's going to be a bit of commission involved there, but the gap is so vast that it makes no sense whatsoever. You're going to lose a third of your stake if you bet on the sportsbook and just 6% of it if you bet on the exchange, and that's assuming the worst case scenario on the exchange. You can always ask for a price on the exchange and get a better price anyway, so you don't necessarily have to lose a penny on the exchange in terms of the overround. You can do many things to overcome that. But so yeah, you have this really contradictory situation where Betfair have two markets up. They're exactly the same market, exactly the same selections, but the payout is completely different. But I absolutely guarantee you people will be using their phones, nipping onto the website to place a bet on the sportsbook, and it makes no sense whatsoever. It's one of the most frustrating things, in case you hadn't realised, that I find within the market. It just makes no sense. But also, Betfair have an offer, you can just see it on the screen behind me, where they're saying if you place a £10 bet into the sportsbook, you'll get a £5 bet on the exchange, £5 back bet on the exchange. But of course, now if you think this through logically, that makes no sense either, because if you place, well, it sort of makes sense, but not very good sense. If you place, if Betfair receive a bet on the sportsbook, they can just hedge it on the exchange and make a 25% profit straight away. They take absolutely no risk. They don't have to do a thing. They just get a bet in on the sportsbook, pop it onto the exchange. Now, it's not a major issue for me. If people want to give away value, then I'll be on the exchange taking it from them. But can you see the contradiction there? But when you look at the £10 sportsbook offer, you place £10 onto the sportsbook, you're going to lose a third of that, or £3.20-ish, around £3. And they're giving you a £5 bet as a reward for doing that on the exchange. But they're not, because if you would have placed it on the exchange, you would have got much better pricing anyway. You would have got 25% better pricing, full stop. So by having your book at 130% over here, and taking a £10 bet on it, they effectively create £3.20 worth of value, and then they're giving you a £5 bet over here. So it's not actually a free bet at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. Now I think it's quite a clever marketing campaign, and I think that the way they've done it is pretty good, and that hopefully it will encourage activity onto the exchange. But can you see the contradiction here? I always look at all markets like this. I'm looking at the book percentage, I'm looking at what value there is, what's the best price I can get and how I can get it into the market. But you can see there's a massive contradiction there between all of the sportsbook, but more specifically the Betfair sportsbook and the exchange. So if you're going to place a bet on the Masters or any big tournament, like the Masters Golf, or where there's a very large field, just use the exchange.